Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Homesteading channel. If today is the first time you're visiting with us, we want to extend to you a very warm welcome and invite you to watch any of our 500 videos arranged for your convenience in playlists, as we are confident you're going to find some both entertaining and useful. If you've been here before but you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do subscribe. It is free and it greatly benefits the channel. If today is your birthday, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. Today we're going to do another upcycle and upscaling project, which has become one of our favorite things since we moved households here. We have our homestead and Lupita has her apartment, and we just didn't bring a lot of things from Kansas, so we have to find bargains, if they were, and we've become very big fans of the Restore because we find some really good deals there, and that allows us to help you come along and see how we do those upcycling projects, and hopefully give you ideas on how to work on something that maybe is a little dated in your house, or go to Restore, support a great cause, and at the same time find some good treasures for your house. So our last find was a nice smallish bookcase, which we purchased for $15. We probably couldn't find the wood for $15 for this. This is actually solid wood. I don't know if it can be heard on the camera, but this is a solid wood, which is the attraction we had on this unit. In general, the unit is very basic. Structurally, it's very sound, but it is design-wise very basic. I mean, it has datos for the shelving. It is very, very strong. And we have been discussing ways to modernize it or making it more useful, or different things that we were thinking of doing. So the first step, of course, will be to clean it, because we purchased that a couple of weeks ago and it has been in the shop while we've been doing other projects, and it is a little bit dustified. Yeah. And then we'll have to take this paint off, see what we have to work with underneath, and go from there. So stick around and we're going to show you every step. So we used our compressor here, but the damp cloth will do the same job. You don't have to have a compressor to do this project, right? And again, now that it is cleanish, is that the word? Cleanish. We are going to start the process of trying to remove the old paint.
If you want to show the price tag.
Yeah, it's got an unpainted back, which is appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, based on the look of it, I'm sure it is a DIY project. That does not look like a manufactured piece,
Somebody decided to upcycle it before us, but we're going to make it even better.
We are. We haven't finished yet, so we don't know.
We are.
We know.
And this cost us $15. And maybe even less, because I don't know what the red tag means, but
No, it was 15.
Well, that's one thing about the Restore too. You can find some really good bargains because they even put their things on sale after a period of time.
So. Okay, so let us commence. So how?
Wow, that was easier than expected.
Yeah, I was expecting. Oh, that's kind of weird. I was expecting a whole lot of really harsh sanding having to be done, but
well, don't jinx it,
This is so far.
It looks like this is an oil-based paint.
Yeah.
And it looked like there might have been some varnish or something under it.
Yeah.
That the paint didn't stick to as good as
so like
expected.
maybe it was painted yellow and somebody wanted to paint it black, but they didn't prep the surface at all to make the paint really adhere.
Again, I said don't jinx it, because it might take us 3 hours to do the rest of it,
Are you superstitious or something?
No. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
I didn't say suspicious.
I know,
said
but that's
suspicious.
the song I know. Of course.
I don't know that song.
Do you
Maybe we
have a
should play
blade?
it.
Do you have a blade that I can use instead of my nails? By any chance?
I have blades. I don't know.
Now, we're going to get our workout today, or at least one of us will.
Well, any easy part is an advantage, right?
Oh, for sure.
And by the way, we like to use this tool, which is not designed for this. There is a tool in woodworking, which is a card scraper. We just don't have one. And because this is in essence the same thing, we don't see a reason to have a card scraper. A card scraper. I don't know what a card is, but
And you know, it is possible to, as you're doing this process with this type of tool, to kind of gouge the wood a little bit. This is an older piece, and we have the ability to sand it down before applying any finish, so that we can take care of that.
plus some gouges can give a piece of character, you know.
Oh, for sure.
We're not trying to pretend it was an IKEA bought furniture, God forbid, you know.
And actually, you should see a lot of people are doing IKEA hacks these days.
They do, but the IKEA does not sell anything that is wood. It's all, you know, made up stuff.
I've never understood.
It's cheap.
Well, I understand the economy of it. Well, actually, IKEA I don't think is cheap. I mean,
Yeah,
some of it is, I guess, but
for comparable projects, IKEA is very cheap. Since we expect this to be the long part of the project, or the most time consuming, we are trying to add woman power to actually expedite it, right?
So we've taken about as much as we can off the top here, which came off really well. It's down to that yellow, and we've even gotten to some parts of the actual wood. Even below, we found a kind of a greenish, bluish greenish tint there. There was yellow, green, white, and then of course the black. And here we've gone all the way down to the wood on the front. And some of the other places that's just not peeling quite as well, although I think this side peeled pretty well. Got down much better than the other side. But we've decided that at this point, without gouging the wood deeply, we're just gonna go and switch to our sanding with our 60 grit paper. So we're gonna raise it up to the table on the bench here so that we don't kill our backs while we're doing that, and give it a go with the 60 grit.
so it's going to take some work. Definitely it's better with the sandpaper to get down to where we want with the wood. We're making a little progress. And what grit did you say we're using at this point? 60. And then if we need to take gouges out, what would be the recommended grit for that to finish it up?
We want to go to a softer grit, which is actually a higher number. So we've got some other 120 in here that we'll try. And it may just take a little bit of feathering out to get to it. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to adjust and we'll be back. Yep, so we're coming along. This is really good. We're getting down to the wood. You can see there's multiple layers. it almost looks like a map, you know, kind of a geographical topographical map.
Yeah, like the depth.
Here's some islands here in the Caribbean. But it's really good because we're using a 60 grit paper, which is really rough, but it's doing enough. And you want to be careful not to go too deep with it. But it definitely is going to take this type of strength to get this paint off.
Right. But we just wanted to show you that the wood is coming along nicely and getting down between 4 layers of paint. Actually, I think 5 because the black was like 2 layers.
And look at the grain on this wood. I mean, I'm certain that this was a basic piece when it was built. Somebody probably built it by hand.
Yeah.
And they used wood that they thought wasn't really beautiful, but the grain here shows otherwise.
Yeah.
So we definitely wouldn't be able to do this project without a power sander. And one of the sanders we have is a palm sander. I don't know if all palm sanders are circular like this, but this one is, and it's a fairly substantial weight because it is a power tool, but also it moves very quickly, and because it's rotating like this, it can quickly get out of hand if you're not putting a lot of control on it. So for me, I need 2 hands on it at all times. And for safety reasons, we want to make sure never to put your hand anywhere near the spinning wheel. Also, this thing does have to breathe, and so you don't want to put your hands completely covering the vents here because that will make it overheat and then you won't be able to finish your project, or you may have to buy another tool. So I just wanted to point those things out because if you've never used one before, it can take a little getting used to.
And something else you want to talk about is you have a casement system of some variety. This one has a plastic one with a microfiltration. The one that she is using has a little bag. But you can see that it has filled up quite a bit. So you need to check it periodically because that's also going to help the machine perform better when it's clear. Empty it out. In this particular case, you can actually take your air compressor and blow it out a lot too to get a lot of those microparticles out of the filter. You could probably do the same, it's just not quite the same effect with the bag.
This one is just a bag, so but you can tell that it is filling up with dust pretty quickly.
And so just be aware of that as if you're sanding a really large project like this.
So this was at some point green?
Yeah, this is the green underneath the white and then the yellow and then the black.
Yeah.
That's the scavenger hunt fun part of doing a project like this, right?
Of course, we've got some bare wood here, and then there's bare wood on the top. We've gotten all the way down to the bare wood at the top.
Okay.
So I'm going to clean out my filtration system before I get back to sanding.
So we're making good progress with our palm sander. You can see we've got down to bare wood on many of these surfaces, including the top, the sides. We're not going to do the very bottom of the feet because we have a plan for this, and it's not going to include these feet. More on that later. But as you can see in the crevices, the corners where the wood meets, it's a little more difficult with the sanders we're using to get in those corners and get the paint off. So there's another tool, if I can help us with that. As you can see, it's taking off more of the paint right up in the crevice where the boards meet. It'll be easier to see as we get further along, but I just wanted to show you that tip.
So we just wanted to take a minute in the midst of this couple hours of sanding we've been doing so far and show you where we are and how nicely it has come down to the actual wood instead of the layers and layers of paint that were there. There will still be a little bit of finish sanding once we get everything else sanded off, but it's coming along nicely, and you can see how this is going to totally transform this piece from plain black matte, or well, it's shiny, but there's nothing outstanding about the piece itself. It's just a plain black shelf. So we're going to do what we can to bring this to life and really make something better out of it.
Yep. It's coming along.
All right, friends, and after several hours of sanding
and scraping and sanding,
we probably need a little bit of more sanding, but we are almost there as far as it's concerned. And our next step will be to remove these legs that we decided we didn't need anymore, or we don't want anymore. Either case, right?
Change the shape and style of it.
And because this is taken quite a lot of time, but the wood is quite good actually, did we decide if we're changing the concept of what we're going to do with it?
Yeah.
So initially we thought we were going to paint it, but it turned out to be really nice wood underneath.
We're going to paint part of it.
So we're going to paint part of it, and what we'll do with the rest part?
We're going to stain the outside. We're going to paint this inside of here, and then on the back there's going to be another finish.
What finish?
The paper.
Oh, okay. So we are going to move on to actually, the next step will be to modify it from its present configuration. So stick around, and we're going to try to show you every step. Okay, so we're set on our table saw, ready to cut this rudimentary legs that this bookcase has. And we have set our table saw with our leg. We want a little bit of a lip here, because we're going to add another piece, like a top plate in the front, right? So we don't want it to be flush with this. And we're using a square here to get an idea of, I mean, you see where our blade is, so we know we're going to have a space, right?
Yep.
And we're going to get ready, and we're going to make the cut and be right back with you. Stop. I think it's perfect.
Okay.
These are perfect wedges for another project I want.
Okay. You want to show them in a shot? Now that we've made, or did you already get the cut? You're good.
All right. So we made the cut, and now it has a more modern look, or I guess a less primitive look, or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know how to call that. And the next step, we're going to attach the next part before we finish it, or yeah, I guess that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So we decided that we want to have some wheels on this, so it can be movable, right? But we don't want it to look like industrial. We don't want them visible. So what we decided is we bought some bearing wheels, and we are going to attach them here, and we probably have to raise them a little bit, you know, so they will not be visible at all after the. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to move to that. So we looked through our scraps, and we found a piece of scrap that will fit perfect for our purposes to create a trim piece here. And you can see how a little piece of wood totally changes the look, the finish of the piece, right?
Yep.
So we're going to attach this with brad and glue. The glue will do again the majority of the work here. The brad is necessary, a little bit of a clamping pressure to keep it where we want. Okay? So we're going to apply glue, and then we'll be right with you. Again, this is a great gluing surface because this is not end grain, and neither is end grain on the furniture, right? So this works fantastic. And here we're going to make sure that it is perfectly aligned, because we're nothing if not for perfection in this channel, right?
Well, perfection. We're attempting perfection.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to do it, or you want me to do it?
Go for it.
Well, you can do it. I'm okay with it.
I'm tired sanding, remember?
Rapid fire. I haven't shown you this mode before.
Actually, you have.
I have?
You're gonna need a couple down here.
Where?
Hold on. There. Alright.
Okay, this is overkill, but so we're using some seams here. We want the wheels to be a little proud of the thickness of our edge. And in order to achieve that, they're actually just high now, right? Which means they wouldn't be touching the ground. So to achieve that, we're going to to cut some seams, and we're going to put them between the roller and the, what we call it?
The turn piece.
And the bottom, and that way we're going to be able to achieve clearance to make the bookcase operate. I love everything about this saw, but getting that blade up and down takes forever.
But you don't even have to go that far because the other thing is lower.
Yeah.
What other thing is low?
Where the mark is.
Do they need to be?
You're right. So
Okay.
we're using a little glue and a brad nail. This is just holding it there temporarily until we're ready to attach the screw. The two screws that will attach the legs, right?
You mean the ball? It's not a leg. It's a ball thingy.
A ball thingy.
Yeah, the ball bearing wheel.
Okay, so we're going to do the other two. We'll be right with you. Ready? So we don't care if these are just little seams, so we don't even care if they're going to split or anything, right? These are not structural. They just make sure that we're making sure we have enough space.
Oh.
Did it go through?
No.
All right.
So again, this is just providing a spacing so that the ball bearings have clearance. They won't be visible unless you're really looking for them, but they will provide clearance so that when it's on the
And
floor.
forward or reverse.
This has been a tough sucker.
But drilling that also prevented it from splitting, which is nice. Okay.
Again, I don't think that makes a big difference. Okay, I have it. You're going to do both at the same time?
Go ahead and do it.
Now, we're not sponsored by Harbor Freight, but these are Harbor Freight perchers. I'm talking about the wheels. And we have used them in the past in our bandsaw stand that we had made in Kansas, and we never had a single problem with them, right? Let's try another. So here we are. We have finished with the wheels, and as you can see, they are not even visible. They don't take away from the look of the piece at all, right? Which is what we're looking for. And you can, in essence, look, one finger. So you can put that with one finger. And we know for longevity, we had our bandsaw on them for probably 3 or 4 years, even more. And we never had a problem with them, even with a lot of dust and things underneath, right? So we think this is a nice way to have something that might have heavy items, easy to move, and at the same time, it is not like you don't blow in it and it'll move. It's not like casters, you know. It is a very nice.
You don't have to lock it or anything.
Right.
It's not going to skitter away from you.
Because we thought about locking casters, and solving that problem generated other issues, right? We'll have to put hinges to open and close and hide them when we don't use them. And well, this is perfect, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
All right. What are we doing next?
We need to paint or stain, one or the other.
Okay, so finishing next. Are we done with everything? And you can see how this very nicely finishes. You know, without the legs and with this in the front, it changes the look of the piece.
Definitely. It's more polished.
All right, we'll get going on finishing, and we'll be right with going over the piece with a little rag, and we do that to get rid of any minute particles that were left in the sanding process, right?
Right. And there would be probably many of those.
So are you going to use the tape? on the edges. So we decided we are going to paint the inside of the case. We're going to give it a very eloquent finish on the back, right? And then we're going to stain the rest of it.
So here's
If you're
something.
doing two finishes like we do, or let's say you're doing this for a child's bedroom and you want to have two different colors, right? Then you need to mask the surfaces in which the two type of finishes or the two colors are going to meet. In our case, the inside of the shelves, as we said, will be a color, and the outside of the carcass will be actually a stain. With the back of the shelves, I don't know, want to mispronounce what we're doing.
Decoupage.
Decoupage, very French of us. So we don't need to do anything else because we're going to paint and do the decoupage and then do the stain, and that will be good. But overall, we're very happy with the progress of this, other than the endless time of sanding, which again we might adapt in future projects to be. I forgot what I wanted to say. Instead of sanding,
Instead of sanding, we might use a stripper of some
right?
variety.
Use
Do we want to put something here just in case of overspray?
I don't think it would go that way, but it's up to you. So now we're going to paint the inside of our shelving. Oh, that's a smelly color.
They're all smelly colors.
Red is smelly.
Well, actually, it doesn't smell bad. Well, some people think all color is bad.
Some people what?
Think all color smells bad.
All chemicals smell bad. Yeah.
Am I getting red?
Maybe. So you've changed your painting technique. Want to talk about why?
Different color, different coverage, different wood.
Nice discussion.
Very nice discussion. Plus, you said you want it fully covered.
I do. Record. Are you good?
I really haven't changed it. I still go right to left in.
But you were taking one single stripe at a time, and now you're holding it non-stop. So.
Well, it is really using. It's absorbing it a lot.
Okay, that's fine.
It looks good though. I mean, look at the good grain.
Sorry for the shaky camera work. We're being eaten alive by the bugs.
North Carolina bugs,
Yeah. Those
No.
are some serious bugs.
not any old bugs, you know.
Which way are you going?
So most of the striping on this one should be gone, right?
Okay. I mean, that will be the top, so it's not like anybody will see it.
But I'm using the same technique, so if
But I understand.
it's not gone there, it won't be gone
There's a
anywhere.
spot I can see you've missed there.
Better?
Yeah. And this can is multi-directional, so you can spray with it upside down without it.
And that's important when you buy this color for this project or for a project like this, because not all paint can do this. All right, and here we go. I wanted to show you that we use this color because even though it is paint, it allows you to see the grain of the wood, right? Unlike what it was done previous to this piece of furniture, where people use latex paint, that creates a barrier in essence, right?
Right, so it smooths it out and makes it look like there isn't any wood.
Right.
There. And on camera, this looks like almost a strawberry red, but in person, it's more of a burgundy red.
It's actually very nice, and the stain looks very, very good.
Yeah. It ends up looking like a color stain as opposed
like a
to
red
a paint.
stain, yeah. Versus
Instead of a paint. I like it. I think it looks really nice.
So we remove the tape, and as you can see, we got a very nice sharp edge between the paint and where it eventually going to be stained. And we are now ready to start the staining process. And again, in your case, this could be another color, right?
Mm-hmm. The finish is definitely anything that appeals to you, that you find nice. The idea is more about transforming a piece into something different than what it originally was.
And we definitely like to experiment with stains and different finishes. And
so the trick on this top part, of course, is coming right up to the edge where we have paint, but not necessarily overlapping that.
and not using too much stain on the rag at one time so that you don't get any drips, right?
Right.
The grain really pops, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And I think the contrast is really nice, you know, between the... It gives it almost a royal look, doesn't it?
A royal look?
Yeah, because it's red inside. Right? It's what? Sorry?
Crimson, I said.
Red. Okay, very nice sharp edge between the paint and the stain. And we definitely got lucky with the wood we used. That was not the same as the wood that existed, but it seems to be staining very similarly.
Yeah.
We are that good or that lucky. What are we, that good or that lucky?
I think it's going to end up looking kind of like almost a jewelry box. You know, the velvet lid cushion inside and nice beautiful dark brown outside.
Again, don't be afraid to experiment, right? We were considering initially using just casters, and because the design was getting too complex using casters, you just touch it.
Well, and another thing is, like, initially we didn't want to do a two-tone thing, but as we were sanding and discovering the grain on the wood, we thought, why would we want to just paint right back over that?
Right.
And
because initially we thought we'll just repaint it because it was already painted, but you know, after all the work Elpida and Mrs. Wizard did in sanding, it felt like same to just cover it, even though the paint we're using definitely lets the grain shine through, you know. But still, I think the two-tone is a good thing, right? A great idea.
yeah, it gives you a pop of color.
All right, so we're going to finish the staining process, and we're going to show you that outcome. This amazing, what you will call it, reveal.
Yeah.
The wood looks just amazing. The stain looks just awesome.
And remember, this is all covered by black latex paint.
And like has
Many
always,
layers of paint, like it never came back to its natural state until now.
Right, they just kept covering it and covering it.
and I've always wondered why people do that, right?
Well, there's a lot of people who, you know.
I mean, this top piece is actually beautiful.
But also, I mean, through through the decades, there have been different styles and
too.
fads, and people do whatever's in vogue.
Okay, so now we're going to measure for the paper that we're going to put on the back, and the height that we have is 11 inches. I'm going to check this one just to make sure it's consistent. Yeah, also at 11. And then we need our width, which is 5/8, 27 and 5/8.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got some paper we're gonna cut. Okay, so the paper that I've chosen is our 12 by 12 squares, and we know that we need 11. So this is my top edge of the paper. I've got it turned onto the back. I've got my square here, got it all squared up. I'm measuring at the 11-inch mark. Gonna make sure all of my papers, once again, are one. I will put my square here. And just use my knife. So now we've got 11-inch long pieces of paper. What we're going to do to get the design, because it's a repeating design on these 3 sheets of paper, but on the edges we've got some darkness. But to make the design look a little more continuous, we're going to cut off a column, probably here and here, and then match them up and then see if I need to make any adjustments as far as the measurement.
Okay.
So I need to cut off this edge and this edge, correct? And we're going to cut it off at the column.
Yep.
And again, this square is making it really nice and easy. Got it lined up with the paper. There we go. Fan.
Feels nice.
Yes. Yes, it does. So we said 27 and 5/8 was our measurement.
Right.
Let's see how close we are with this. So we need to be about here. So
Okay.
maybe we can just adjust in
We're
the
gonna-
columns a little bit. So this is our dry fit of the papers that we cut, and this is the way they're going to lay out. Again, we cut them at 11, and it is a repeating pattern, so you have to be a little bit careful about how you're doing it, but I feel like we've done a good job with getting them matched up. I think this could go over just a little bit so that when I'm placing it, it'll look a little more like the column.
Yep.
Okay?
Very nice.
So we could never get the pump to be free-flowing, so I'm just gonna do some in here with a brush. Try to work quickly so the glue doesn't dry.
Oh, you just does the perimeter? I mean, don't know, we have enough to cover everything, do we?
Yeah.
What's your work time on this thing?
And the reason we have chosen to go with this method to stick them to the back is because we didn't have the Mod Podge here and available. So this one is slightly overlapping, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're being creative with what we have to get the job done,
Because we don't want to go to the store.
right? We've been sanding for hours. We're a little bit tired right now. The project was maybe a little bit more than you want to try to do in one day. Or maybe trying a different method, who knows, than sanding.
But on the plus side, here in North Carolina, it has not,
Rain.
I was gonna spell it out so no one would hear, but yes.
Yeah.
It's been nice. It's actually been a very, very nice day. Slightly humid, but you know, it's summer in North Carolina. What are you gonna do? Alright, so we're going to let those dry and we're going to cut the other pieces to fit. It's going to be a slightly different design on the paper, but also same concept.
Yeah, looks nice.
You need to copy this? Well, friends, and this is our finished project. It came pretty much as we envisioned it, right?
It looks really beautiful.
We had to modify the hot pads, is that what it's called?
Mod Podge.
Mod pads. But the idea, I mean, the concept is the same, right? And we might do it afterwards, actually. So we use contact glue, paper contact glue to
hold them in place.
To hold them in place for now.
Mod Podge over it. You could.
Right. But if you come here, you can see very, very nice grain. I don't know if you can come here to show it. I mean, the red paint does a great job. It's not like the paint we removed that covered everything and made it an amorphous thing. Can you see this or not? So the features of this thing, of course, it has the what we call that contrasting finish with the red and the stain. It has the virtually hidden ability to move, right? And will it be used for books or for other things so you can see the background?
Books.
Okay. Overall, we are pleased with how it came. I mean, what did we learn in this process today?
Sanding sucks.
Huh?
Sanding sucks.
You two love sanding.
Allow plenty of time for sanding when it's of that magnitude.
There's a difference between finish sanding and removal of layers of paint sanding.
But here's what we love about buying things from the Restore or any other secondhand retailer is that we're using something that already exists that somebody else didn't want. We're not paying for something brand new, manufactured. And the other side to that is, not only is it great for the environment, but it's also giving us an opportunity to really customize something. You'll never see another one exactly like this.
Right, and you could never find one for the price we paid for this shelf.
Right, I mean, pretty much $15 would have bought us the wood.
If we're lucky, yeah.
So we feel very happy with this. It did take us longer than we anticipated, but in the same token, our vision was exactly what we see right here, right?
Yep.
So we were pretty happy with that. We hope you did enjoy this episode of the Urban Homesteading channel. And if you did, we appreciate a thumbs up. If you didn't, the other button works as well. Please share, like, subscribe. Let us know what you would like to see in future episodes. And from Mrs. Wizard, Dr. Wizard, Elpida and the Urban Homesteading channel, stay safe, wear your masks, wash your hands, so we can see you in the next episode. Farewell, friends.